Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday night, and it's Mariner of Spirit. I'm Greg, I'm the host, and tonight we have another special guest, a person that's from the ITC community who's been doing some amazing work with another gentleman by the name of Jay Prather. And before we go ahead and introduce him and bring him on further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mention the people that I sort of support. And the first one is Potographs, and that is Potographs is a couple of people. It's basically Tim Miley, who is part of the paranormal community. And quite some time ago, he lost his pup and didn't know what he was going to do, and he decided that he was going to go ahead and take a couple pictures that he had and make copies of them. And it was of him and his pup, and he went to a Paracon and he started selling them so he could use the money that he made to go ahead and help animal shelters, etc., whatever else he was doing with it besides its shelters itself. And he continued to do it, and now he's got events that happen. And if you get the opportunity and you see an event by Potographs, take some cash and go ahead and see if you can go ahead and connect with it and look him up and go ahead and have a great time, because he has a lot of people in the paranormal community that support him, and they all show up, and his guests are always right at the top. So, secondly, it's PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, and it's Chris Koskowski and Alex Wilkinson. And they're two people from down in Florida. They're a couple. And they've been doing this particular Paranormal Kicks Cancer probably now for about maybe 9 years. And they've done some amazing work, and they work events. They create events, and it's all done for cancer research. And it's a great organization between them, and they've done a great job. And I met them through my friend Ron at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and interviewed them one night when they were at Old South Pittsburgh. And they're well established too. And the third one is Jessica Petrie Foundation, and that's a resource for expecting mothers and families of pregnant women with mental illness. And that is being run by Mr. Howard Petrie of the Paranormal United Network, or Paralanx now. And Howard did this for his daughter, and created this charity, and he's done a great deal of work on it. And it's really, really, it's a good charity to go ahead and contribute to too. And then the only other thing I have to do is I have to go ahead and mention the authors that I support, and you can find most of their work on Amazon. And if you can't give me a call or message me, and I can go ahead and find out where you can find their books. Number one, and these are not in any order, it's just a bunch of names, okay? And they're all great authors. Number one's Bruce Holliday, Tobias Wayland, Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Barnaby Jones, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Ron Iacovetti, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, and Christina Bloom. And if I'm missing any, hit me up, go ahead and message me, because these people have some tremendous works that they've done. And I'm more than willing to share if you have any other people that are should be added to that list for paranormal groups and stuff like that. So without going ahead and wasting any more time, I want to go ahead and bring in my guest. This is Mr. Austin Maynard, and he's a box builder. He's a great person who's gone ahead and started up a network that's called the Underground Paranormal Network. He's the owner and founder of it. And there's a bunch of other things, including he's a historic preservationist at UPN, which is, once again, is that Underground Paranormal Network. And then he's also a promoter for them too. And he's an independent historical or historiographic preservationist. Now he's got me stuttering already with all this stuff. And there's a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about spirit box communication, and a lot of new devices that him and his partner, Mr. Jay Prather, have been working on. So here he is. This is Austin Maynard. I hope I didn't screw that up too bad.
You just said Mrs. Austin Maynard.
Mrs. This is Austin Maynard, didn't I? Did I say Mrs.? Well, then bring her in and get out of the way.
Oh, she.
That's a crazy way to do. Oh man,
you're just having some trouble today, huh?
No, it's usually every day, but no reason to have it, end up starting out any differently than it normally does. You got to go ahead and get all the kinks out right off the bat.
Yeah, sometimes I've got to do that.
Sure. So it's great having you. It's great having you here. I don't think we've been around together for a little bit. You've been great in the past with me going ahead and you filling in and coming in and just helping me out on occasion. That's always been a great thing. And, I really appreciate all the work you've done with me. I know there's a lot of people that know a lot about you now. And, besides Ohio.
Yeah. Seems like it's going that direction.
So you want to give a little input as far as, the last time we really talked was when you were involved with Nick. And,
yeah, still am.
It's still on?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys been doing any filming?
Yeah, they just started filming season 5. I just sent them out like the care package with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna be going out there probably in like March because they're doing 20 episodes, and so last season I was like first half. I was in on the first half. Second, I'm probably gonna do a little more of the second half this time. But yeah, they just started filming season 5. Season 4 came out. It was just like a week ago. So,
well, for the people that don't know who Nick is, that's Nick Groth. So, and he used to be with Ghost Adventures, and he's done a great job by himself, and all the more power to him. He deserves every minute of it. for
Yeah,
all those years you
I think
put
it
in.
does.
So,
Absolutely.
and when you really think about it, your relationship with Jay Prather, you had mentioned to me, because I had no idea you were with him for that long. So you must have been sharing a lot of ideas
Oh
and
yeah.
things.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, his boxes are and you work in conjunction with him, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, in what way are you working with him?
Well, right now, him and I are partners, IDC devices. I mean, I still do my own thing with like the Techromancers and everything. But with IDC devices, basically, I've taken over the production for him. Because he's actually shifted a lot of his focus to the IDC Institute, the World Gate, and the Hyperrealm project. We got another one of those coming up in May, so he's got a lot of planning, a lot of things to do, and so he actually taught me step by step how to put together the direct links and all of the devices, and so I've been kind of taking that off of his hands because obviously the World Gate, the Hyperrealm, I mean that's a big thing, bigger than ITC, bigger than all of this. So plus I think that he has a lot. I mean, outside of even just that, he's got a lot more on his plate in day to day life. So my day to day life is at this bench here at the desk. So
Burning your fingertips a little bit?
I haven't in a while. I almost did the other day. I haven't in a while, but anytime, I mean, I actually cut myself or prick myself a little bit more than I burn myself. But every time I do, and actually KD taught me this, every time I do, I'll take the blood and I'll make a cross on the inside of whatever device I'm building. So it's a little piece of me with my
Right,
device.
right.
I don't know
That's
if that
that's
helps
really.
or not, but
I think I want to start building boxes just so I can put the cross inside it.
I can't do it with everyone because I'm not like trying to prick my finger or whatever all the time, but like if I do, I feel like it because I believe in a lot of like Frank Sumption's philosophies, like things are if you so one thing about Frank Sumption's boxes, right? Like when he would build his circuitry, like he would obviously a lot of it was trial and error, experimentation, right? And he would put a part in, and if it did not work, he wouldn't take the part out. He would just leave it in, but reroute it. And so, like because in his philosophy was if he put it in there, it was meant to be in there for one reason or another. Even if he didn't use it, it was meant to be in. And so I felt like, everything if I pricked my finger or something, I was supposed to prick my finger on it. I'm supposed to put the blood into that specific box. Uh, it's like I believe in a lot of that philosophy. Like it's supposed to. It's supposed to be like that.
You don't think you read too much into it? It's
Um,
a sound philosophy. I'm agreeing with you on that part, but I'm just questioning that because I'm sure somebody might question it in the comments. You
yeah,
know
no,
what
I
I
mean,
what I mean?
yeah,
Because it is your work. So I mean,
yeah.
you know,
Um, I don't know. I feel like I do it. I mean, I guess I do it because Frank Sumption did it, and I guess I just kind of felt like there must have been a reason he was doing it. I don't necessarily know if it makes any difference. Um, other builders like KD and JW and Stephen Katie Halte, they've all expressed different kinds of views on that, and that's great. I take everything that they say into consideration with everything, but so like that's one thing of Frank's that I kind of implement into my process is just like if I put it in there, then I was supposed to put it in there, even if it's not part of the circuitry of the system.
do you feel he's ever stopped just to go ahead and give you a little heads up on something or
Um,
not?
I don't know. I mean, if he has, I don't think that I've recognized it. I never knew
You
Frank personally.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I wish I would have known him. He died in actually I didn't even get into the paranormal until the year after because he died in 2014. I got in 2015. So I mean, I I really wish I could have talked to him. I really wish I could have talked to Ron Ricketts. Wish I could have talked to uh, Joe Shappy. A number of these guys. I really wish I could have. I mean, I'm thankful that I'm able to like have the relationship I have with like Stephen Katie Halte, with KD, with JW. With a lot of these people, I feel very happy, and blessed because they're just like wealths of knowledge. And like, like these guys in ITC and the paranormal community, they've done it all, seen it all, been through it all. I mean, there's still a lot left to explore and everything, but these guys have been through all the trials and tribulations and like figuring out what works, what doesn't. And so they have reasons for the beliefs that they have, right? And so like I just kind of look at all of those, and I may not necessarily have experienced things that would lead me to the same kind of conclusions or beliefs, but I believe in what they believe in. You know what I mean? So like if they have a philosophy that there's a reason for it, then I'll take that into consideration because there must be a reason.
Well, the point that I'm going to make is the fact that if I was doing what you were doing and trying to keep track of all this information, I would have to have a page about that long with all these things that I'd be writing down every day.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I mean, I have apparently a large memory bank, but yet I can't remember the smallest things from the other day that like, because I won't forget something that my wife will get upset with me sometimes about. Like, I told you this like 5 times. It's like, I don't remember you telling me ever. But yet I can
Yeah.
remember this huge, crazy, long, intricate list of certain specific details about things. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, it happens all the time with me too. So I mean, you're not the Lone Ranger. I mean,
Well, but
that's
I
married
don't.
life.
I wonder, but like I had a TBI in 2009. So like when I have suffered my cardiac arrest, so like I don't know how much. In fact, like for a long time, I actually thought that was messing with my short term memory. Because like I felt like I know that it does mess with me a little bit. And like there's things that I notice that other people would never be able to tell. Like there's moments where I like stutter a little bit, and like I'll have to catch myself because I never used to do that. But like there's other things too. But I forgot where I was going with that.
That's
Where
okay.
was I going with that? Where was I going with that?
Uh, you were well. We were talking about Frank and
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah,
and
but there's a
you
reason I
were
brought up the. There's a
the
reason I brought up.
stuttering because
Yeah.
I said that I have issues, and we had a list.
Oh yeah, the
I
TV.
went
Oh
through the
yeah, that's right.
list.
Yeah, the TBI. So like the TBI, I guess that's kind of where it's at. Is like it's like I don't know how if it's affecting what part of the brain or how it's affecting it because I seem to have. Sometimes I got real bad memory with certain things. I think what is that called? Selective memory.
Oh, you
It's
remember what you need to remember.
what is it in it's like unintentional selective memory or something like that, or you know what I mean. Like I'm not
Or
trying to
I want
remember.
to remember what I want to remember, and then there's other stuff I'm supposed to remember that I don't want anything to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Brain just shuts it off.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like a traumatic experience. I don't know what happened.
that's what happened. As long as you got a good excuse, who cares?
Yep, exactly. If you think if you can take that for what it is, I
But
guess.
you have a whole bunch of locations. Are these the same locations you had from like 4 years ago
Mm-hmm.
when you
I
first
still
started
have
going? Into it?
Yeah, I still have the same original five. We've had others that have come in and gone, and usually most of the time that's just because of like we bring them in temporary, try to help them out, whatever, see where it goes. And usually a lot of times, I mean, at least with the couple of locations that we ended up just dropping out. One of them ended up being sold from underneath without kind of like telling us or anything. So we kind of just felt like, all right, we're just going to walk away from that. And then another one, they actually ended up getting like they're selling the place and all this. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But the same five, the funeral home, the village, Middle Point, the jail, and Father John's. We've had those five since I think I think 2020 was when we got the funeral home, and that was the last one.
Are they still all going strong?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing is consistency. You know what I mean? Just having them open and just consistently. And one thing I've really made a point of doing is I've actually lowered the prices on a couple of locations. Just because I know that because of inflation and everybody hurting for cash, everybody really not having nearly as much disposable income to travel or whatever, I felt like at least a couple of locations where we were able to do that. Like, I knocked like $100 off of the funeral home. We knocked like $50 off of the jail. We're trying to like figure out ways that we can help. And so I think that help to give more people the opportunity to get into these locations, because that's really like my whole thing was like, I know people are hurting right now for money, and I know that everybody is, right? The economy's been really rough, so why not try to make it a little bit easier for people?
When we started talking,
prices are continuously going up all around the board or across the board. Location prices just keep going up.
Yeah, that's for sure. The IDC devices and
Yes,
that. If you could go ahead and explain to the listeners exactly what's involved with that and the devices that you have that you use for that.
Are you talking about the experiments, or are you talking about the devices themselves? Like
the devices themselves, and then we'll get into the experiments.
Okay, so yeah, the devices themselves, there's a number of them. There's a number of different kinds, but the main device that everybody kind of really knows about is the direct link. I've seen on Ghost Adventures on it. I mean, it's been on so many different shows at this point. And basically, that is a random scanning ITC experimental device. We don't even call it a ghost box because it's really not. So it's just scanning along the FM spectrum, 3,500 steps. So it's actually going above and below the FM FM range, the standard FM range, and then breaking that into like there's 100 steps, or there's 10 steps in between each frequency. So like it ends up being close to like 3,500 frequencies that it's going through, and jumping around randomly. On top of that, you got a whole bunch of inputs and outputs. You get more with more inputs and outputs, the higher level of device that you get, obviously. But the whole idea is that you can do like multiple Estes methods while still recording from every point along in the circuitry. That is a big point of emphasis, really, is like being able to record every aspect or at every point along the way, be able to record the audio. Mainly because one of the things that JW really started like noticing earlier on was something that he calls the DAV, the direct applied voice. And we noticed this happening when we on the FX models, the FXWCs, which is the FX with controls, and anything with the FX, basically, because what we noticed was that everything would have echo. Anything that came out of the speaker would have echo, except occasionally you would get a voice, like a word or two that would come through that would not echo. But yet everything before and after continued to echo. So why is it doing that? And so like some of the things that we thought about, right, was like obviously impedance. We thought about like the signal strength by the time it gets to this point, like how, you know what I mean? Just looking at everything, the timing with the audio. But really, it's really hard when like you could have a whole sentence come through and then have that whole sentence repeat. You know what I mean? But then you have a couple of words come through. There's no echo or anything, and so if that's the case, that means that something like directly input its voice after the echo reverb board in the circuitry. Which, I mean, anything that came from the tuner should have echo and reverb on it. But then when you get voices that don't, what does that tell you? You know what I mean? It tells you that something, the voice came after the echo and reverb. So, you know, how does that happen? And that's like a lot of what the main focus of like a lot of the devices really is. It's all about catching anomalies within the audio path.
Oh, it's actually unbelievable what you guys have been doing. You know, I'm really, compared to just going ahead and sitting down and doing spirit box sessions, it's taken it to a new level.
Well, I mean, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that JW is the one that this is all JW's creations with the direct links and the 2K boxes. Although I help him with building them, I've helped with the design of the Inception models, which are these ones. You know,
Right.
like I found a way to. Sorry, my camera's like inverted. It's weird. Like I found a way to make sure it made it all fit in here real nicely and still work. But I
mean, when you go to your page, mm-hmm. there's actual pictures that you can go ahead and go through and look at them. And what we're doing now is you're sort of giving a little background on what each one of those boxes can do. And and that's important because there's a lot of people, like including myself, that I've seen one of them, and I'm not saying that I haven't been out that much. No, I don't have any.
I thought you had a direct link.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I was going to.
Yeah.
I'm another one of those guys that, you know, I'm lucky I have pants.
Well, maybe we'll have to get you one. We'll have to figure something out with that, because I swear I thought you had like one of the first contacts or something. But regardless, I mean, I think that what Jay has created, I mean, really is amazing with the IDC devices, and I'm just happy to be, you know, a part of it. You know, it's an honor that, and I guess when he retires, he's handing the keys to me. So I'm going to be expected to like continue the legacy. And I feel like that's a lot of weight on my shoulders, but like,
you know what? He picked the right guy.
I mean, I'm going to do my best.
You know? I mean, you know, you are that kind of person. And I knew it from the first time I met you, that you were going to go just like KD. You guys mm-hmm. were like twins.
Mm-hmm.
And I really
went,
wow. You know, if I want to go ahead and really put a lot of time into this and want to know an answer to something, I want to go to people. You know, a lot of times you can't get through to Ron Iacovetti, or you can't get through to the Rathmans, and you know, all the way down the line. And I've had them all on the show. They're all great people, and they all have their own methods.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, today that's important because then we cover a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And, you know, the kind of thing that happens is that when I got to the point where I did, and I will mention it to you when we get off the air of what's been going on, but there's things that have been happening that have sort of stopping me because I've been over to the VA so many times. And, you know, it just goes crazy because I have to make a decision, and I still don't want to give up on either one. I want to try to go ahead and carry my life, even if it's another 20 hours a week, and continue to go ahead and do like this kind of work and getting people to come on the show like yourself that are real icons in the industry and explaining things to people. I know Jay has been a silent. He's like silent Jay. You know Jay. You know what I mean.
I love that.
And and don't
So
say
true.
that to him whenever, because he's going to probably shoot me.
No,
But
he's gonna get a kick out of it.
him and I come from pretty much the same time. I think we're pretty close, and
You guys are both military too, right? You're
yeah.
military, right? Yeah.
So I mean, that's sort of a little more of a connection. KD
Yep.
is too. I think
Mhm.
you're the orphan, if I'm not
I'm
mistaken.
I do I am not military.
But but
My
you know
both my
what?
grandfathers were military, but
That's
I
right.
wasn't. I'm yeah.
So it's great that and people if they want, and I know that like Becky Evans is in here and Carol Garcia, and these ladies, all you have to do is show them a box, and you
I
know what
know.
I'm going to say. And
Well, Becky is buying stuff from me already. Um, I don't know if the other one has or not. Yeah, you said her name was Paige Garcia, right?
Carol Garcia,
Carol Garcia. She may
and
have. I'm not 100%.
Anthony Savalos, who happens to be the founder of Texas Wraith Hunters, and that's the group that I'm with now.
Oh, okay.
Even
Oh, yeah.
though it's down in San Antonio, I've been on my own,
Yeah.
and Reggie Randall and me,
Mhm.
we do 2 shows together a week, and then I do my own 2 shows,
Yep.
and we do Psychics Unite, so that's 5 nights a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can, if I start to mumble by Friday, like I was in the beginning, that's not too unusual to say the least.
Uh, well,
You
at
know,
least you're still doing
I
it,
hit,
man.
I got
Still
hit in the
doing it.
head a lot when I was younger, but that happens too. But if you were to recommend one of Jay's boxes, would it be the one that you mentioned before, the IDC?
Well, I mean, they're all IDCs. It's IDC.
But I mean, they
The
have
direct link.
different functions, and
Yeah. I mean, if I was gonna recommend, like, I mean, personally, I'd go with like a 2K or something. But like, if you wanted a handheld device, either the FXWC or the FXM, and the FXM has a microphone on it. So it implements your voice and their voice into the same physical medium, and you still have a recording capability before it goes into the echo and reverb that combines both audio. It's like post mixer, pre echo reverb,
you're blowing
and
my
so
head up, right? You know that.
like actually, you're lucky. I'm in the middle of building one.
Don't lick the
Yeah.
wires.
Well, you wouldn't even know how to. Nobody would know, anyways. But so yeah, you got your microphone. This is your pre FX input and output. So like you could actually put another tuner or something if you get the audio balances right. You could have your microphone, the audio from the direct link, plus whatever other ghost box you put into it, and have all three audio sources going out the same one or the same speaker. And then if you really wanted to, you could probably have, let me think. Okay, so at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 audio sources total in this thing. Like you could
Wow.
put 3 separate, like external audio, so like 3 separate ghost boxes into this and combine it with the tuner in this plus the microphone audio plus, so you'll get the echo and reverb, and you'll get, you can get really like crazy with the experiments with the direct links and really all of JW's boxes. Like that's what they're meant for, is just experimentation.
Oh, that's really something. I mean, and for those people that don't understand random and linear, as far as the sweeps are concerned, that's another issue that maybe some people in the audience can't recognize that or don't understand the difference. And you were talking about random earlier.
Mhm.
And linear is just back and forth.
Yeah, so your typical like standard shack hack, your hacked radio, or even your SB7s, SB11s, all that, they go, well, the SB7s, SB11s, I think they're like linear, but they're actually almost like a sawtooth. It's weird,
Right.
because it just goes from like either from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom, but like it'll start, like the starting point will always be the same. So it'll go from the top to or the bottom to the top, then just go back to the bottom, go up to the top, back to the bottom, go up to the top. Whereas like with KD's sweep and my sweep, like the analog linear sweeps, they're just kind of back and forth, back and forth. Like that's a normal standard ghost box with an adjustable sweep rate, so you can make it fast.
Faster or slower.
And that's like part of like other like deeper ITC work. A lot of it involves like a really fast sweep rate and just looking at the little phonetic pieces, bits and pieces of speech to form sentences. But now with random scan, like if you imagine you have all those frequencies laid out like with the same frequencies that you would normally have, except instead of going forward or backwards, you're just kind of just jumping around wherever. So like no two consecutive frequencies are actually consecutive in the sweep. Like you won't hear them, and a lot of that helps with like radio bleed through. Like you won't have to worry about that. Like because a lot of people talk about with like ghost boxes, you know, you have radio bleed through, right? It's where you have like you'll hear a voice say a whole sentence, but it's like because you got the radio station here, right, and then you got frequencies on this side and on this side where the signal is not nearly as strong, but you can still hear the voices, you still hear whatever is coming through, so it can sound like a longer response. Whereas with random, like you're not going to get that because it's just jumping all over the place, and so you may hear a word on one station then just get nothing or something, you know. And really ITC, like the best way to go about ITC is random. Like random is always going to be your best bet, although true random is not. I don't know if we have true random like completely possible yet, but it's really, really close. I know Katie Halte does a hell of a job with that. Like she does a really good job with analog, like the analog style of random. Whereas JW's style with the direct links, those are more of a digital style of random. And I know KD has his own version of a digital random, but he uses a different radio board. So because I know he uses those for the nano comms. But they're all unique in their own way, and like that's what makes ITC so great. Is I think like the sounds, the different sound styles, the different sweep styles, the different, like all of it is different in its own unique way. None of the two boxes are the same. And anybody that says that they are, they really don't know what they're talking about when it comes to ITC, because there is a level beyond just the generic functionality of a ghost box or a scanning radio, right? Like there's a lot more to it.
So for how far you guys have come, what has been the biggest, how could you say, it would be the biggest stopping point or something that wasn't really right for you guys and in the work that you were doing? Was there something like that? Now I'm trying to analyze too much, but was there anything that came up that was a real problem as far as going ahead and getting through to the final end?
You mean as in like capability wise.
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the limited technology, money. I mean, that's always the biggest problem. I mean, because right now, I mean, really, money is more of a problem than the limited technology, because there are things that we want to do. Like there are things that I want to do that I just can't do because because there's certain things that you need thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to do, and to be able to do it to the full extent of like what like, you know, a lot like that dude that did there's a dude on YouTube that did a video kind of making fun of the Travelers documentary, or the docu-series that we did. um we was kind of making fun of the idea of it being, because one of the participants said that JW scienced the hell out of it. And so they use that in the trailer, and so like, but the whole thing, like, we want to try to make it as scientific as possible, but I think that there's shoot, I forgot where I was going with that. The biggest hindrance is always really, it's just like, oh yeah, because we don't have enough money to like get proper facilities, to get proper equipment, to get proper, like, all of these things are, I think that's really like a big hindrance when it comes to like even being looked at by the scientific community. I mean, that's my like ultimate goal, is to like actually get the scientific community to at least consider, at least look at it, right? At least like take it somewhat seriously. But a lot of that requires good funding so that we can actually do it the way that they say that we should be doing it, right?
Who do you consider to be the scientific community?
That is a good question. I would actually start with theoretical physicists. I would be looking at like, I don't want to say guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson, because I know that those guys are like so dismissive of it all anyways, but there are people within the community, the scientific community, that I believe, even neurologists or neuroscientists, like people that study the brain. I mean, there's a number of individuals that I feel like could, you know, could be I don't know how to just say this. I guess like somebody that we would hope would look at it in the future once we get our ducks lined and, you know, in a row, right?
Do you guys consider all those people to be debunkers?
Well, that's kind of like what the role of the scientific community is. Well, it's basically putting everything through as much scrutiny as possible. And it has to be like, but, and that's the point, like, because you can't just make claims without hard data to back it up. And that's like how we are able to understand the universe. That's how we're able to I mean, like, look at Einstein's theories, like even the theory of relativity, the special theory of relativity. Like, he actually thought he was wrong on some of these things, including like black holes. Like, there were certain things about black holes, like the singularity, he didn't like. Like, for some reason, he felt like it wasn't making sense. But later on, we figured out that yes, that is right. You know what I mean? And so I think that, but like, it underwent so much, like all of his peers, all these scientists went, like, they go in to try to prove him wrong. And when they can't prove him wrong is when true discovery is made, in my opinion. And so that's where I think I'm at, is more or less like, we have to find a way to overcome the obstacles as a paranormal community, like as a field, as a research field. We really need to be talking to the people that are going to tell us what we're doing wrong. Like, and I know there's a few individuals that many people don't like. You know, a lot of people don't really like Kenny Biddle. I respect Kenny, because I feel like, as much as he doesn't believe anything. You know, he is like a serious doubter. But I appreciate him in the sense of, like, he is a very, very educated individual, and his partners, his associates are also very educated individuals, and I think that they can look at everything from a perspective of like they could see everything that we're doing wrong, and they do have a good, viewpoint, a good perspective on this stuff. And so I feel like we should be working with them, not like, what I mean?
Yes.
But I think that that's like it's a bit, there's a deeper issue that I think is holding that back. It's a whole other conversation.
Your project that you guys did last year, your big project.
Yeah.
How do you feel that fared at the end?
I think that the World Gate or the Travelers docuseries that we did, I think we were successful in documenting it and portraying the process that goes into one, setting it all up and how the experiments are conducted and everything. There's a lot that is not shown, but that's why we're hoping like with this next one in May, maybe we can show a little bit more. But I think there's a lot of things that were left unsaid or unshown, I feel like. And so that's kind of where we're at with it. But we learned a lot. And I think that we're going to be like, there's things in the protocols that we're going to be adjusting. There's certain things that we're going to be trying this time that we didn't last time. We just added, I think we actually just spent another $1,000 to try to get some environmental monitoring data, or like a data monitoring system that actually will remotely send the data live back to a screen for us, that we can record the data. And it's actually the system has like 8 pods, and each pod we're going to have 6 of them, one around each participant. So like we're going to be able to see if there's any kind of environmental changes around the participant during these experiments. Obviously we got the EEG machines, which are, they are what they are. We can for what the amount of funding that we have, we get what we get, right? But like we're always trying to constantly upgrade the system and everything. It's just it's all based on. There's always limitations that we always feel like we run into, and it's frustrating at the end of each time. But we're trying to get a little further with each one.
Well, you guys have gone really far, I think, for the first one. And it's great that you're going into number 2.
Yeah.
And that's the, what is going on?
I don't know. Who is this?
I think it's Katie. I think it was. But she's not. She's
Miss Katie herself?
Imperial historian. Yeah. But the point that I was trying to make is, with the effort and the length of time that you guys took to do what you did for that series, for you to do a second one, you've gained a lot of knowledge already.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's only going to make the second one 10 times better.
That's how I feel. JW, of course. And JW and I both feel the same way about it. Plus, the rest of the crew, Steve, Kayla, Eric. And I think we're actually bringing Ron and Lourdes out a little bit too. They're going to be joining us for at least a couple days with this one upcoming.
You got to get your boobs out, Austin, on camera, and people will watch it.
You got to send me money first.
Get your boobs out in the video, the next video you do, and just do a little, like a jump rope.
Only if you pay me first. I don't give that stuff away for free there, KB.
Only on Supernatural Link.
Good grief.
Sorry. What's up?
No, that's okay. It's good to see you or see your picture.
We love you guys. You guys are great.
My avatar. This is my avatar.
I don't have an avatar.
No, you just have a talking
a round circle.
Hey, don't be hating, Austin. Hey, dude, you're exactly right, though.
See
When
what
it
you got.
comes
Oh,
to
go
the
ahead, Katie.
I'm sorry. When it comes to like the scientists and stuff like that, no, he's right. And I had to buzz in because that was good, dude. Anyways, that's the only reason why I buzzed in.
Okay, well, buzz out.
Biz.
Oh, jeez.
Love you
You're not
guys.
Shots fired.
Love you
you too,
guys.
Katie.
Love you
Bye.
too, Katie.
Love you.
Hey,
Jesus.
You're not going to get any dinner tomorrow. You
that's
know that,
fine.
Katie? No
She knows
dinner.
that.
You're
She
going to
knows
be
I'm
eating
messing with her.
McDonald's.
She knows I
This
love her.
fucking dude.
You gotta hear what she
I
says
know.
to me. It's way worse. That was nice. So
Oh my
Austin,
God.
for real though, what you got to do with
Yeah.
your documentary thing, you got to make like you got to have like you know, like the theater edit, which is all the flashy stuff, all the exciting stuff, you know, the reactions, all, you know, your
Yeah.
standard ghost hunting show, and then you
Gotta have, like,
and then you have like the director's cut, which is like 12 hours long, which is like actually shows all of your everything, you know, and then so people can look at that, and then you know, that way
more than 12 hours. That's
well,
the damn
well, I mean, you want to make sure, yeah, and you can like have probably put like all the data and everything you got on a site, and that'd be, I'm sure you're doing that, but like for make a website for the documentary, right?
Well, we have
And
a
then,
website for the Institute, and that's like the whole thing, like that
well,
documentary.
yeah,
and
but you need your
project
own,
and
you need your
everything.
own website for that documentary, right? That's what you need. You need
Well,
like
the
one.
Institute is what conducts the experiments.
Sure, but you can still have a website for the thing. If you don't, somebody else will. They'll
A
just
website
make
for
one for your experiment. Yep, they'll do that.
But there's a website for the experiments already.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, never. You should scoop up the domain name, is what I'm saying. Scoop up the domain name, for whatever you're doing, and have it. If nothing else, use it for a link to wherever your data's at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And so you got your flashy, 42 minute cut of your work, and that's your, you know, like, oh, that's the moneymaker, right? And then the rest, like the actual research is there. It's just, you know, a lot more than most people want to watch. Your average ghost hunting show watcher person doesn't like.
Yeah,
they don't want to see all the setup and all that. They want to see the, you know, the reactions, the scary stuff, the scary
meat and the
moments.
potatoes.
Well, right. And so that was one of the things that him and I had talked about at the beginning, and we both agreed, like, we did not do this. We fully
one of you throw a brick at the other person and then be like, oh, where'd that come from? And
we went into this like not expecting to make any money on it. Like, that was not the reason we did it at all.
Well, no, but you got to make money to make the next film, right? So if you want to do the next experiment, you got to make some money to do that. It's easier to do it that way than to raise money from people. You know what I'm saying? It's just easier to have something to sell to fund the thing that you're doing, right? So you do your, you know, your little cheesy reactionary 42-minute cut, and that's what pays for your actual research. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
That's my opinion. My opinion.
I agree with you.
JW to show some freaking skin, get the boob out, and
he'll say, "Do you want to see my pecker?"
Just one
boob. Bird video.
Cheesy, and it's going to be on the cheesy 42-minute cut.
Yeah, that's where you sell your skin at. That's where you know.
I do agree with you. The thing about JW is that he is like so against.
But you're not doing anything wrong. You're just showing you have a cut that's for most people, and then in that cut you reference people to your actual project, and that way for the people who want to see the whole thing and see every detail, y'all can do little clips, videos, like setting up experiments. See, all this is stuff that I would have, and I know you would have liked to had, and you know, you would like to have more time to explain everything you do and shows. So like that's something that we all want, And if we all had it our way, like the nerdy guys, we would just have like a big long. We would have like one long cut and then a short cut, and the short cuts for the normies, and the long format is for the seasoned nerds.
Right. And well,
Or
we
the-
did like with the docu-series, it's a 6-part series and each part is about 40 minutes long. Now that the only reason we did a 6-part series is because we had to do it that way because there was way too damn much footage. We were there for 6 days filming all day, every day.
If you think about like the 12-minute format, you know, like busting it down into 12. Yeah, dude, that's the most consumable form of like video, like format of video on YouTube, and most is like 12 to 15 minutes, I think, is like if you look most
we wouldn't be
videos,
able to, there would be nothing in it. Like what would we, it would be like a quarter of an experiment.
No, well, like I said, you you break it down into that, and then it's just my opinion. You know, I think it's because that's the digestible method of videos on YouTube. It's either a short, which is like, yeah, and people will watch the longer videos, but
yeah,
but
some
people don't have an hour or 40 minutes to watch a whole thing, so they'll watch a 10-minute video. It's like me, you know, when I'm at work, I take a smoke break, I'll put on a little 5-7 minute video while I'm smoking a cigarette, and smoke my cigarette, go back to work. So, just food for thought.
Yeah, I think they've done such a tremendous job.
Yeah, they did a lot of work, and I think that to not try to take advantage
utilize
of it in every way you can. Like just try it. It ain't gonna hurt anything. Just bust it down. Try to make some little 15-minute. Try to make some little shorts for TikTok and YouTube shorts and reels, and make some little shorts.
Save the bulk of it.
Like a shit ton of shorts.
At the end of the year,
I see what you're saying.
It all down.
And once when October comes around, October 25th, when that comes around, we'll be able to do that. But right now, we have a deal with Scare Network.
Oh
TV.
yeah, that's right. You got a deal, don't you? Yeah.
1-year exclusivity. So then once that's done, then we can do whatever we want with it. But for now,
that's
Austin.
So they're not doing all that stuff.
They signed on the line.
Are they not doing all that stuff like for the video? Like, are they not? Or they just put it out in one? Like, is it just a 40-minute? Like, it's 40 minutes videos. It's not.
Yeah. It's basically like each video is about 40 minutes long. It's basically covering like each day, essentially. But like the reason we did it again was not. We have no. We did it for documentary.
Well, we don't build ghost boxes to make money. But but
we're not.
You have to make money to make more ghost boxes.
Well, we didn't do this to make money though. Like we got funding from the participants. Like that's how we do it.
Right,
but it's like the participant and everything. It comes in from private investors and everything like that. And so there would be no way in hell that we'd be able to make the amount of money that we needed. It's like $15,000-$20,000 required just to do this for a week, let alone film it. And so, like trying to make that much money off of
you guys are paying people to film and stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no money to be made with this, and we know that. It's not about the money, it's about the research, it's about the experiments and the potential.
Like there's money to be made in everything, but as long as you're in it for the right reason, I think you are. So I don't think I'm not saying sell out and make some bullshit.
Right. I mean, and to say that there's no money in it is not right, because I mean there is money, but that money is usually end up that money, like how you and I when we do ghost boxes, it just goes right back into
it funds it. It funds itself, right? Yeah. But I'm just saying if you can maximize what you can make off of it, and I'm not saying you'll have a lot to put in your pocket. I'm saying you'll have even more to do more things.
Oh yeah,
just like you were just talking about a few minutes ago, I was listening. Equipment's freaking expensive, dude. And then also when you're funding your own thing with your own stuff, right? You don't have to worry about
little bits at a time. Well, you can only do little bits at a time when you're doing it that way.
Doing what? Funding it yourself?
Funding it yourself, yeah.
Yeah, at first, right? Sure, at first, yeah. But then like if you stay with it,
Yeah. But I mean, if we end up like with each one, we end up getting an extra $2,000, then that covers like another 1,000 feet of cable, of Cat 5 cable. That covers another.
I hate Cat 5 cable.
It covers another camera or two and some adapters, a switch, like stuff like that. It just like upgrades the system, especially because eventually we're going to be doing it at Oglaze in September. Yeah. And that's a big fucking place, and we need a lot of cable, a lot. And I know when we were supposed to do the experiment in September, this just past September, and so we did end up buying like an extra 1,000 feet of cable, and so now we're doing it at the funeral home in May, but we are doing it again in September at Oglaze, and so like we're hoping with the May's experiment, we will have even more cable by the time we get to September for Oglaze.
Yeah,
because Oglaze is going to be that's going to be a project.
I got shit tons of Cat 5 cable.
Dude, I don't doubt like you do. I have seen your workshop, and it is just there's like there's giant fucking spools of wire on the ground, like
between here and just what I do for a living, just running.
Too.
I have to run like hundreds of feet of Cat 5 every other day or so. Every day,
you're gonna have to become the bandit, Katie.
The bandit.
The man in the mask.
The man in the mask. I don't get it.
Find it. Well,
I don't understand there, Greg. What do you make? What reference are you making there?
I think he's making a Zorro reference.
Is that what it is?
That's Zorro. Are you making a Zorro reference? It was very vague. Man in the mask.
He needs to secure the cable, right? Katie says he can get the cable.
Oh, I'm saying I could assist. I can't get. I don't know how many thousands of feet. I could help.
And I says, well, in order to do that, you have to be somewhat disguised.
Well, roughly, I think that what we were looking at is roughly like, I have the paperwork. It's something like close to like 8,000 or 9,000 feet of cable required for the village.
Freaking Christ!
Well, you got 6 points on the SEPA, and they're so it's like a 5-point star with a center. And so you got not only cameras going to each of the 5 points, but you also got speakers that are at each of the 5 points as well, plus the data, the monitoring system, plus the EEGs and all this shit, dude. Like,
but can you not do some of it wirelessly?
Well, the EEGs and the data monitoring, yes, we do wirelessly. But the only problem with that is that at the village, we can only go so far with wireless because you and I both 30-something acres. I mean, you can't go across the entire. You know what I mean? Like you can only go so far wirelessly.
Yeah, but it's not 30 acres. Like where are you just doing where the buildings are? Or are you doing the whole freaking property?
Well, let's put it this way: we're going to be covering all the way back to the lock keeper's cabin, and over to the military museum, back to the Big Red Barn, over to the school. Like that whole, that's not 30 acres. That's true. That's probably more like 15.
Well, if you need some Cat 5, I could probably get you some Cat 5. So let me know.
I may take you up on
8,000 feet.
I
don't know. We get big boxes of it at work. Anyway, I didn't mean to just hijack your show, Greg.
Well, that's okay. Man. I mean, we're
love hearing from you.
It's good. It's good to get your input on it, to say the least. It's always a pleasure to have you on. So
I always have input.
You're sort of muscling Austin out of the way a little bit, but
I do that. I know it's fine. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna let y'all talk.
Okay. I'll talk to you later on. Thank you very much.
Right, later.
So I don't even know where we were at.
We were just talking about like the scientific community and like, what they kind of like, Colleen tells me that I have a bad habit of saying like a lot, and I really need to catch myself, and it's true. But yeah, the scientific community is really, what's the word? hard-nosed, stubborn. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to jump through all kinds of. You're gonna have to break down all kinds of walls just to get to the podium. And
You have to find somebody that'll listen to you out of the
well, you
room.
have to be able to withstand the strongest scrutiny. Like even Carl Sagan back, before he died, that was one of the things that he preached. Like the science has to have the highest standards, and it has to be able to withstand the highest form of scrutiny. Meaning that people need to be able to attack it from every which angle, try to debunk it from every which angle, and that's how you know it's solid. Like that's how you know it's a real science. And so there's a lot of what we're doing. I mean, it's really, really difficult to find any kind of aspect of the paranormal that we could define or measure definitively or prove definitively happens, any kind of anomaly of some sort. And then to prove that it's the spirit of a dead person, like that's a whole nother ball game. Like just ignoring the fact that we just have to prove that the activity even happens to the scientific community and prove that it's not some form of like natural or explainable phenomena that happens naturally, right? We have to show that it is an unnatural phenomena that is not just, that cannot be explained by the normal laws of nature, normal laws of physics. And so if we're able to overcome those obstacles, the scrutinies, then that's what we need to do for the field. And I've always talked about how the biggest problem in the field is not the content creators. It's not the people on YouTube doing the scare tactic videos. It's not all this, it's not the TV shows. You know what it is, guys? It's the lack of taking the research seriously amongst us.
Responsibility.
Mic drop. Let's be honest, guys. That's not how to say it. But
what we got to do is we got to go ahead, and when Jay gets the opportunity, you two have to get together, and I would love both of you to come back and we can discuss this further. Okay?
Yeah,
because I'm sort of running out of time, and I've got a dog. I hope he doesn't crap in the house, but it's at my son. I know, but I appreciate your time, and I think it went well for tonight, even though we didn't cut. I had a couple of things else I want to cover, but I can go ahead and save those for later. Yeah, and it's always been a pleasure to have you on.
Of course, man.
I've always been a big fan of yours. I really like your work, and we'll have to talk about it a little bit after I get off. Even if I have to call you.
All right. Yeah. When we get off here, I'll stay on so we can talk.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Austin, thank you. And everybody in the chat, thank you very much for being here. We're going to go ahead and cut it out now. So you guys all have a great evening. And if you get an opportunity, give Austin a little shout out and tell him how much you like the show. And with that, I'm going to end it. So everybody have a great weekend and be safe. Bye. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.